to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
Hey there, my friends. Good morning. It is Tuesday. It is my son's 21st birthday today. Believe it or not, if you're a parent, you know this. Time goes so fast. It is hard to believe. Oh, my goodness. July 7th, and it is an 8-dog's birthday today. Thanks for joining me here on Peaks to Plains Weather. This is Mornings with Meister. I do this every Monday through Friday morning at about 6:30. I had a little bit of an issue this morning, so I apologize for being a couple minutes late. But here we are. We are rocking. We are ready to go, and we are going to jump into, of course, the Aspen Acres Fire first. They just put out an update within the last 3 minutes, and so it's actually 93,000 acres and some change. The most active part of the fire, really over the last 2 days, has been up on the northern end, and you can see that's where most of the new growth continues to occur. So we're in the northeast corner of Custer County, kind of the northwestern part of the southwestern corner of Pueblo County, and you can see where the containment lines are officially at 13%. We got word yesterday that more than 260 homes have been lost in that fire, a number of businesses as well. And it is approaching Highway 96 up on the northwest side. It's about a little bit more than a half mile on my mapping system, the official fire perimeter from the Greenwood area, and about 2 miles from Wetmore proper. And so we'll keep an eye on that part of Custer County here as we head over the next couple of days. I do think there is some good news on the way for the fire in that we have some storms in the forecast. And I do think the fire is going to be one of the areas where we watch for some storms to occur. So that's kind of the situation here on the fire as we get started on our Tuesday morning. And speaking of, let's jump into the weather conditions out there this morning. Canyon City, 63 degrees as we get the day underway. The smoke seems a little bit better along the Front Range. We had some upslope overnight that was kind of poking it, back into a lot of the mountain areas, but we still have it around. You can see it in Pueblo West this morning where the camera's bouncing around a little bit at McCulloch Boulevard and South Academy and Colorado Springs. You can almost see a little bit of a hint there of some of the color on the eastern horizon. It is currently 54 degrees with a north breeze, and the humidity is up there at 68%, which is good news. We like to see some humidity recovery. We have gotten that into the fire early this morning. That's some good news. And it does show us that there is some moisture in the lower levels of the atmosphere. In fact, our dew points are looking pretty good here. And that is important because we've got some moisture coming in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere as well. And those two things are going to up our storm chances today. So we wake up for the most part in the 50s and 60s. Coolest spots, some of the big mountain valleys are down in the 40s. That's where Alamosa is this morning. And we do have 71 in Lamar, kind of on the warmer end of things. So good morning to you. Thanks for joining me here. I appreciate it. Let's check in with a couple of you here early this morning. Isaac is, of course, one of the wildland firefighters. He's the public information officer with SoCo Wildland Management Team. And he says, keep your eye out for smoke in the foothills and mountains because, yeah, the rain, while a good thing, could also start some fires. We had one of those on the west side of El Paso County that was thankfully put out. But the quicker we can get to those, the quicker we can get those put out. So, Isaac, that is certainly good news. I got my American Classic coffee. I am on the Sequoia blend early this morning, and that is powering me. American Classics Coffee is the official coffee provider of Peaks to Plains Weather. As we jump into our forecast, let's talk about what is on the way here over the next couple of days. It was a hot one yesterday. Salida hit 95. The mountains are going to come down a little bit the next few days because we do have more clouds around with the moisture that's on the increase. We got to 92 in the Springs, Almost hit 100 in Pueblo and really almost got there in La Junta. We did get to 102 in Lamar, and we'll see temperatures not be too different out across the plains today, but then we do have a slightly cooler day on the way for Thursday. Here's the large scale pattern. See this area of high pressure rotating just off to our southwest. There's the clockwise flow kind of around this thing, and there is a little bit thicker moisture. In fact, we kept some showers around in eastern Utah into the early morning, and that is moving our way today. So the combination of the moisture at the surface and that increase in the mid-levels leads to a better chance of storms today. Now, before they happen, it's going to be a little bit sticky out there because it's hot. We'll be around 100 for a lot of areas over the plains today. Not too much of a temperature change, but notice Salida, we're not going to get to 95 today. I do think we knock it back, and even for areas that don't drop as much as Salida, we will pull back from what we've had the last few days. Some of the clouds over the western slope this morning will start to turn into thunderstorms prior to lunchtime. That's a sign that there's more water in the air coming in from the west. And so you can see as we hit the early afternoon here, we're really getting the thunderstorms going. Now, here's what I want you to know for today. They're going to be slow moving. These areas of high pressure in the summertime, the wind speed around them and underneath them is not all that fast. So if you get hit by one of the heavier thunderstorms, you'll get some decent rain. Now, that could be a problem for the Aspen Acres Fire. I think it's a problem in the short term here we are willing to deal with to maybe help put the fire out in some spots, or at least bring the temperature in the burn down. But it'll also increase the risk of mudslides and debris flows and that sort of thing, especially where the fire's burned hotter. And that's just something to keep in mind. There is a risk for some of the crews that are doing work out there. But notice that the Aspen Acres Fire is a spot where we do think some thunderstorms will be this afternoon. And even into the early evening, we're still in the process of kind of shifting them east off of the mountains and over the Front Range. Like I said, real slow movement to things today. And so even into the early evening, we'll still have some thunderstorms around, hopefully over the Aspen Acres Fire and in the vicinity of the cities. We start to quiet things down over the mountains as we move past dinner, but over parts of the plains, I think it may take until past midnight in some cases. So this is a really good chance of catching storms today at some point for most areas. And we need the water, so that's good news. I do want to focus, though, on the Aspen Acres Fire. So I've got the burn on there, and you can see here as we hit the middle part of the day, the wet mountains are an area where computer models, a number of different models for consecutive runs have kind of been pinging the area for some storms through the day on Tuesday. And again, if they're not moving all that fast, they happen to be some of the heavier ones. You know, we could have some flooding issues to deal with here. But late in the afternoon into the early part of the evening in particular is when I think we get our best coverage of storms over the area. And then some of those will work toward the Pueblo locations and even areas east of there as we head into the evening. So crew, that's good news. Again, we do need this water down there. We look forward to Wednesday. It's a little bit of a different day. We thin the moisture out a little bit over the mountains. And so the coverage of storms is not going to be as good as what we have out there today, or I think what we get on Thursday, particularly over the plains. The temperatures aren't changing a ton here. We've still got some 100s on the high end of things over the plains. We're still in the 80s for the mountain areas. And you see in the early part of the afternoon, notice how western Colorado is quieter than we'll have today. We'll still watch for storms to develop along and east of the Continental Divide and still shift them eastward. But storms will be a little bit stronger over the plains on Wednesday. Particularly up across northeastern Colorado, there's less agreement about the strength and coverage of storms in southern Colorado. There is some potential, though. We might have a couple of maybe severe storms in southern Colorado, I think with wind gusts being the biggest threat. If we get severe storms in southern Colorado, I can't rule them out as having some hail between an inch and an inch and a half in diameter. There is a little bit of a stronger signal for northeastern Colorado as of now. And again, some of the storms may take until early Thursday morning, so they kind of last a little bit long here the next few nights. Right now, I think severe storms most likely off to our northeast. I'm going to keep an eye on that, though. As new things are coming in this morning, I might have to pull that chance of severe storms a little bit farther to the south, and we may have one on Thursday as well. Certainly on Thursday, I think strong wind gusts are the biggest threat. And we will be behind a weak little cool front on Thursday over the eastern plains. And so our temperatures will come down here as we move into Thursday. It's the same pattern as Wednesday, where the storms form along and east of the Continental Divide. So the western slope is quiet again. Today's our best shot of getting moisture for, the fire that's burning outside of Ordway and some of the fires on the Colorado-Utah line. And then as we head into the late part of the afternoon and evening, we're getting the storms into Kansas on Thursday. I don't think they last as long Thursday as we have tonight or tomorrow. So that's kind of the breakdown here of the short-term forecast, like I said. And so, that's something that now we can do questions. That's one of the things I like about Peaks to Plains Weather, our weather together, is we get to hear from you. You can join the show live. You can use these links. You can come on here with me. You can ask me questions. You can share some concerns that you have, some experiences that you've had. Or you can share your comments on social media as well, like Millie Jo is doing this morning. She says that there are 20 firefighters from Maine on the way. Yeah, we've had firefighters, some of the California, from CAL FIRE is here now. We keep increasing the number of firefighters. I think we're over 1,100 now that are working the fire. Lots of resources have been sent to Colorado to help with this. And that's something that I think, we can all be thankful for. I know that it doesn't feel like it is moving fast enough for some of you. It is a very challenging fire, though. Some of the terrain is very difficult, and some of the behavior from the fire has been quite unique, I would say. Green Bay has some good perspective here. Couldn't we get a 94,000 acre wet blanket on the fire? I really hope we get some decent rain on the fire today. I am holding out hope on that. Kathleen says, is the fire off of Gold Camp Road out? That's one of those lightning-caused fires. It was put out yesterday, I believe. So there were actually two that were up that way. And it looks like there's decent containment on them, kind of to the west, the backside of Cheyenne Mountain. So I wouldn't be overly concerned about those, Kathleen. It looks like they responded to those quickly enough that they have a good handle on those things. So that's where we sit as of that. We have more storms in the forecast as we head into Friday. I will talk about our extended forecast when we come back. You're on Peaks to Plains Weather, our weather together.
Another attorney commercial with big promises? Millions of dollars, practicing law 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. Let's get rid of the smoke and mirrors. None of that really matters. What does matter? Having a medical doctor as your attorney. That matters.
This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.
At Phil Long Ford Motor City, we've been around for 80 years. That's like 560 in dog years.
To say thank you to our loyal customers, it's employee pricing for all. You pay what we pay. Our way of celebrating Colorado's 150th anniversary and America's 250th birthday.
American value for American values. You pay what we pay. Right, boys?
That's right. Only at the original Phil Long Ford store.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Dewey, here with another water-wise tip.
During summer, do you know why we water up to 3 feet?
To make the best use of me.
Exactly. It builds deeper, stronger roots and makes your lawn more resilient.
Also, use the cycle and soak method. Try shorter cycles with breaks in between to reduce runoff.
And in spring or fall, you can water 1 or 2 days per week. Be water-wise and your lawn will thrive.
Now that's water-wise. Learn more at csu.org/waterwise.
Well, here's what I want you to know about our extended forecast. I see a pattern that says we should get an increase in the monsoon here in the middle part of the month. And there's some details to work on, of course, given that, we're still a number of days away from that being here, given that we're only at the 7th. But, some things to look at here in the extended forecast. We get a stormier period here the next few days and then a change for the weekend. So we have this general high to our south here that is going to rotate storms kind of from the mountains out across the plains like we talked about here through the end of the week. And I'm even going to keep some storms in the forecast for Friday. But notice how the area of high pressure, you see the black circles here, is kind of building up to the northwest. As we head into the weekend, that's going to push the moisture off to the south. So our temperatures are going to go up and we're going to dry out here. We're going to get quite hot. In fact, the high ends up for a few days up across the northern plains here. And then that starts to kind of gather the moisture to the south that we'll start to work on as we head into next week. But over the weekend, as this high is building up to the north, it kind of brings the heat into Colorado. So we'll be back well into the 90s for Colorado Springs, and we'll have some 100s out over the eastern plains. So for planning purposes, if you want a break from the storms over the weekend, I think that is going to work out for you. Now, as we move into next week, we just have to watch, how much of this moisture we can get up into Colorado. And that big of a high is a pretty decent situation. This morning, the computers are less excited about getting it too far to the north. And so it's pulled back on our chances of storms a little bit because it's kind of starting to develop a new high over here and breaking down the one across the eastern U.S. a little bit. We'll have to see if that works out or not. But you get the sense here that we're still in that southerly flow. So, are we going to keep most of it over Utah and not have as much, especially across the eastern parts of Colorado? Again, we'll have to wait and see. The farther you get out into the future here, just, you get this, right? Like the less ability we have to get specific. So we're just kind of looking at pattern forecasts. But for the next several days, storms will be around. There's no doubt about that. Then over the weekend, we get hotter. And how kind of dry, how long we stay dry next week, again, will depend on how far east that southerly flow is, or if we're mainly keeping it over the Intermountain West and the Great Basin. So that's something that I will watch for and something that is still to be determined. I do think even the mountain areas dry out over the weekend and warm up as well. I think the farther east you are in the mountains, the longer it's going to take to get storms back into the forecast. So Woodland Park, the Wet Mountains, the Sangres probably take another couple days compared to the western slope, and certainly into Utah. Pueblo, we will have some storms around the next several days as well. Wednesday and Thursday, they may be just off to our east a little bit and maybe off to our south. I'm not totally going to take the storms out of the forecast, but we'll keep them kind of on a day-by-day basis here as we move through the next couple of afternoons. So that's how things look as of now. And of course, we're working on the forecast through the day, and, there's always new weather information coming in. So we're always kind of keeping an eye on things, and, we let you know the details when we see them. So that's where we sit. It is Tuesday. It's 7 minutes ahead of 7 o'clock. I am going to go wake my son up, and I got to tell you something on a personal note. His girlfriend from college is in town. She got here on Friday, and we've had an amazing time with her. She is so sweet. She's got to meet Grandma and Grandpa. We went to the Flying W Ranch on Sunday evening, and it was such a great time. Fantastic food. Was a great show. It is just, I love the Flying W Ranch so much. The Wolf family does such a fantastic job. And Leanne is in the process of kind of, turning things over to her sister and her son, or her daughter, and her son-in-law, and they are doing a great job. If you haven't been out there in a few years, the Wranglers, they just put on such a good show. And they have this chicken. I don't remember them having chicken. I think last time I was there, it was brisket and turkey, I want to say. But, oh, man, this chicken was just, was fantastic. Anyways, okay, I am rambling. That means it's time for me to go. My friends, have a good day. We'll be in here monitoring things today. If we get some flooding issues around the fire. We will, of course, let you know about that. It was good to hear that some people on the southeast side of the fire, on the eastern parts of Colorado City, able to get back into the houses. I know they're trying to let evacuees get in there when they can, try to get some stuff. They're doing their best to make things safe enough to try to allow people back in, obviously. And hopefully today's rain gives us a little bit of a leg up on the fire. That's it for me this morning, my friends. Have a great day. This is Mornings with Meister. You've been watching Peaks to Plains Weather.
It's time to get outside and celebrate the places that help us play, breathe, gather, and recharge. July is National Park and Recreation Month, and we're shining a spotlight on the power of the city's parks, recreation, and cultural services. Join the fun with an outdoor movie and silent disco at Hillside Community Center on July 17th. Then keep the good vibes going with music in the park on July 24th at Pinyon Valley Park. Visit coloradosprings.gov to learn more.